Okay, so these are some of my ruminations living at the Kerouac house. The problem with being a humor writer is that you're never taken seriously, at least not in the literary world. We don't write about sad things, or if we do, we joke about them, as if to show we're bearing up under the weight of the sad things. We don't write about transformative moments in a person's life. Ours are not coming-of-age stories or quests for true love. We make people laugh. We don't take shit seriously, and we wish everyone else would just lighten up. We're not published in literary journals because we don't write literary stories. We don't get shortlisted to writing competitions where people use the word shortlisted. Literary types look down their black horn-rimmed glasses at us. Poets run an uncomfortable finger around their black turtlenecks. And 24-year-old hipster memoirists flip their full heads of hair, and we pray for the day their hair falls out. It's enough to make us feel self-conscious. I look at some of the pedigrees of past Kerouac House residents and see they've all been published in literary journals. I've been a newspaper humor columnist in 10 newspapers for 21 years, but it somehow doesn't feel as prestigious as being published in a journal read by 300 people. We've had poets, creative nonfiction writers, literary fiction writers, and then there's me, the guy who makes fart jokes on the internet. You can see why I might get a complex. I was fine when I received my notification that I had been accepted. In fact, my very first thought was, oh good, 4 people applied. I figured they didn't have that many applications and I was just given first preference for the time I wanted. Then I found the list of the writers and our alternates. 8 people, still not too bad, I thought. I won the coin toss. Then I learned that nearly 300 people had applied from around the world. Oh shit, I said. They think I can do this. Which is when the imposter syndrome kicked in. Every good artist feels unsure of their abilities. We all worry, someone is going to find me out. Someone is going to discover I'm a fraud. So we create our own narrative and the idea that we're going to be exposed. Even when everyone else loves our work, there's a voice in our head that tells us they're just being polite. Successful writers learn to ignore that imposter voice and carry on with their work. After 27 years, I know what I can do and how I compare with other writers. But it still makes me nervous when I see the Kerouac writers' bios and a long list of literary journals I've never even heard of. So I console myself with the fact that I know something they don't. I know a real word that rhymes with purple. The other residents wrote important pieces about their time at the Kerouac house, like pondering whether Jack's spirit lives on, or accompanying Summer, the board president, to Jack's old house in St. Pete and getting his chair, the one we keep in the back. They write poems about lost spirits, or asking Jack's house, "Is anyone there?" They write about sitting in Jack's chair, drinking whiskey, commemorating his spirit. Meanwhile, I sit in Jack's chair and say out loud to his spirit, "I bet you farted a lot in this thing." And then I wrote this piece. I talk out loud a lot when I'm here. I speak in German badly. I speak in funny accents. I make bold declarations about what I want for breakfast, or that I want a bowl of cereal at 11 o'clock at night. It reminds me of the recent Doctor Who episode, Listen, where the doctor searches for that thing under the bed when you know no one else is around. He says that when people speak aloud when they're alone, they're really talking to that thing in the corner of your eye. He calls out to it, "Is anyone there?" He travels to the actual end of the universe and learns that yes, it still is. He even wrote a little poem about it. What's that in the mirror or the corner of your eye? What's that footstep following but never passing by? Perhaps they're all just waiting. Perhaps when we're all dead, out they'll come a-slithering from underneath the bed. I shouldn't have worked at this on this at 2:30 in the morning. And now I have a message for future Kerouac House writers. This house has played host to 59 authors before me. I'm the 60th. This house has a history, Not just because Jack and his mom lived here, but because there have been 60 people who created art and lived a life of literature and ideas. They worked on their craft either in the back room or up here in the dining room. They dwelled in language, they played with words, and they produced work they can be proud of. 60 people lived here, worked here, ate here, and slept here. Just try not to think about them all using that same toilet.
Well, thank you very much, Erik Deckers, and welcome.
Thank you.
My name is Jana Benj, and I'm here with the Kerouac Writers in Residence Project of Orlando. And as Erik has said, he is our 60th resident, and we're very glad to have had you here.
Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Well, tell us what's been wonderful about it.
Well, I live here in Orlando. We moved last year after I had received notification, but that didn't actually affect our move. So we moved down here. We live in Oviedo, which is about 20 miles away, but I've been able to have solitude and privacy that you don't get in a house of 3 kids that you're homeschooling. So I've appreciated that, if nothing else. But I think the other thing that I've really appreciated is just it's plugged me into the literary community in such a way that I don't think I would have gotten had I just showed up. You know, I've enjoyed the look on people's faces when, you know, they hear that I'm the Kerouac House resident, and their eyes get big and they go, oh really? And so there's a cachet that comes with being that writer. So I think that's been what I've enjoyed the most. It's like that instant respectability, which as humor writers we just don't get.
And you're going to get to bask in that a little longer because you live here now.
Yeah,
so.
I get to stay. So I get to be the former one.
Right,
I get to live in a place where it still matters.
You can never leave us, which will be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So future writers, you'll see me a lot more. It's that damn guy who keeps showing up.
Yeah, right.
Did I leave my socks
He's like, I
here?
know, he's elbowing you out like, I know you're the resident, but I'm the past resident.
Oh, I left my socks here.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch you. Tell us what you've been writing while you've been in the house.
So I've been doing 2 things. One is I have my day job where I do content marketing. It's ghostwriting for companies about whatever they need. But then also in the evenings and free time, I've been working on my novel, which is a humor novel. It looks at the idea of what would happen if Mackinac Island in Michigan were forced to secede from the country. And so looking at the events that happen locally, not at the national level, how does the government react, but how do some of the residents react to that? And so it's written sort of in that Catch-22 Christopher Moore spirit.
Sounds interesting. And how far through did you get with it?
I got about 2/3 of the way. My first goal was to finish the first draft at the end of the first month, and that just didn't happen. But then my next goal was to finish it by the end of the whole residency, and that didn't happen. So now my next goal, which I'm sure to violate, will be to finish it by the end of July.
Okay, well, we'll check back in to make sure that you're violating it along with the rest. And I remember you telling me that you kind of applied for this residency on a whim, and that you had never applied for a residency before. Is that right?
It is. I sort of applied for it the way that you buy a lottery ticket. You know, sure, it's $1. I'll enter. It's not going to hurt, but it'd be great if I won. And so I was here last February for vacation. I was in Orlando, and the day before we were supposed to leave, I was sitting in downtown Credo, which is just 5 or 6 blocks from here, and I looked on Facebook, and a friend of mine who's the executive director of the Indiana Writers Center said she was going to be at the Kerouac House doing a reading of her book, Searching for Jack Kerouac. And I thought, there's a Kerouac House? There's a Kerouac House here? Where is this? And I Googled it, and I find I'm sitting 5 or 6 blocks from it. And I email the address on the website, and I say, can I come visit? And they say, no. It's a private residence for our writer in residence. And I thought, well, what is that? And I look and I see the writer in residence program, and I think, well, I should apply for that. That's the only way I'm ever going to be able to see inside the house, is the off chance that I win. So I bought the lottery ticket, and I submitted the first chapter of the book that I had been working on, wrote my application, and thought I might as well. It'll never happen. It never does. This never works out for me. And just 5 months later, Memorial Day Monday, I got my email informing me that I had won my spot and what I wanted, and I wrote back and I said, sure, but we're actually moving down there too. So, and everybody said, what, you're all moving down here just for this? I was like, no, it would be stupid to uproot my whole family to move for 3 months. Yes, we're all going to live here, and then we're all going to come home. But no, I said, no, we're moving down because we're just in search of warmer weather. And so that was, I figure at the very least, that makes me the first ever Hoosier to move to Florida to serve as the residents in the...
I believe so.
So I, hopefully the only one in the world ever. That would be awesome. But we got down here, and I actually started coming to other farewell readings and potlucks. I met J.C. Sevick, who was the writer 2 before me, and I met Sarah Vereen, who was the previous writer, and so I plan on coming around to other dinners and other farewell readings and other events in the house. So
great. And if you had, what surprised you, since you were so gung-ho about getting into the house when you came here? Was there?
The thing that surprised me the most, actually, was learning that Jack's mom did not live in the front of the house. And that they lived in the back half. Now, I've done all my work up in the front of the house. My, kind of over there is the dining table, and I've used that as my desk the whole time, and sitting and facing this way so I can see the front door. And I thought the bedroom over there was Jack's mom's bedroom, and it turned out, I didn't find this out until like 2 days ago of the day of my reading. This was somebody else's part, and Jack and his mom lived in the back, and what I have always thought of as Jack's bedroom was his mom's bedroom. And so that was I honestly have to say that was the biggest surprise. And it doesn't sound that big, but considering for a year, this is the image I've had of the whole house, and to have that.
Yeah, they weren't rich enough for the whole thing. This is the classy joint.
Yeah.
So they just had the lean-to on the back.
And my daughter, my youngest daughter, got to spend the night one night back there, and she's convinced it's haunted. We've never seen any proof, but she said, I put my glasses on the bureau, and when I woke up the next morning, they were on the desk. And I said, no, I think I put them on the desk. And she said, no, I'm pretty sure you didn't. And I said, well, then you put them on and got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and put them back on the desk, because they were not on the bureau when I tucked you in. She said, no. So she won't spend the night anymore. Nobody else, I've talked to other people. Nobody else has ever seen a ghost or a spirit but my daughter and her glasses.
Well, we have the odd resident says that they've felt or seen something. So about a third of them feel there is something here.
That word.
And I'm not staying the night
I'm
myself.
I'm glad I'm hearing this on like my next to last night, not the first night, because I don't like scary things, scary movies, scary books. My family loves Walking Dead, and I won't watch it with them because it just scares the shit out of me. So, like being alone in this house, I turn on the alarm and I figure ghosts can't get past an alarm system.
Well, look, you survived, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So far, I've got 2 more nights. Two more nights.
And what advice would you give to the next resident that's coming in, or anyone coming out to you?
One of them is to take advantage of the literary scene. You could almost literally go to an event every night. Okay. There's something going on, and just to plug into 2 or 3, and just start figuring out which ones you want to go to. But plug into those, get to know people. They're going to be your network to finding your way around the city, finding your way around to what's going on. Another piece of advice, we're only half a mile from Publix, but plan accordingly. I remembered from my college days that having food and having food to make other food are 2 different things. Some days I just want food, and Publix is only half a mile away. And hopefully you're good at doing laundry, because you're going to be doing your own.
Well, thank you very, very much. And we look forward to seeing you at a lot of more events here and seeing this book come out soon. And we'll have a big party here when it does.
Oh, that'd be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.